Welcome to the first episode of The Sit Down. The Sit Down is going to be an ongoing show where I sit down and interview different people from different aspects of movie and film. Today, for the first episode, we have Genoveva. Now, if you know who she is, you've seen her in movies such as Catch of the Day, Cool as Hell, Apocalypse Kiss, Witch's Blood, Dark Place Inside. If you don't know who she is, well, then you could check those movies out, and you could also sit back, relax, and watch as the interview takes place. All right. Hey, everybody out there. This is the 13th Wolfman. I'm kicking back. I'm sitting down with Genoveva Rossi. You
Hey,
might know her. You might know her. You might not know her. She's done a lot of film and model. Just to name a few, she's done Catch of the Day, I Spill Your Guts, um, IB, IBS.
mm-hmm.
So how you doing, Genoveva?
Okay. Now I'm going to interject. I'm going to say probably best known films. It seems like to me would be Apocalypse Kiss, which I actually play a 9-month pregnant character in. It stars Tom Atkins, DC Douglas, and Michael Berryman, as well as Carmelo Hazlett Grillo. That's a great film. Check that out. A Dark Place Inside with me, Rob Dimension, and Kieran Doyle, directed by Michael Mahoney. And then what else? And then I Spill Your Guts,
I
Acid Bath Productions,
Your
directed by
first
Jimmy Cole.
film,
Oh, yeah. So
yeah, Michael Berryman. Now you just mentioned like my all-time favorite horror icon.
one of my favorites too. And what a nice guy. I've met him on a few occasions since we filmed Apocalypse Kiss, and he is a fantastic human being. Wow, you know?
He he really seems like it. I haven't had the chance to meet him yet, but the other guys from the Dorkanine,
Hmm.
they went out to a convention not too long ago, and they met Michael Berryman, and he seems like he was just more than willing to kick back and just talk with them. I mean,
Absolutely. Like meeting him, the first time I ever met him, I was like a little kid and I was at the Chiller Theater Horror Convention with my dad, I think in the 90s when I was just like a little kid. And I had seen him in The Hills Have Eyes and I was looking over at him and I was kind of mesmerized by him and kind of shy. And that was the first time I ever saw him in the flesh. And then who's to think that years later would be an Apocalypse Kiss together, directed by Christian Grillo. And then I ran into him at Parafest and I remember meeting him at Parafest, and I came over to him. I'm like, I don't know if you remember me, but we were in Apocalypse Kiss. And he was like, well, Genoveva, tell me a little bit about what kind of movies you're in. And I'm like, I'm mostly in independent, low budget horror films. And he's like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. He's like, I built my whole career on that. And
yeah,
he's quite the career, built upon that, because he has such a unique look and such a great way about him. And he's just such a sweet human being, like such an incredible guy. I've
I
seen him at Monster Mania, Parafest, Bizarre EC. He's everywhere.
yeah, I once read that he has oh, I don't know what the right word is. It's not really a handicap or disease, but he has a ailment that he
Hmm.
can't grow fingernails or hair.
Or sweat glands. He has no sweat
He has no sweat glands, and he,
glands.
he
Yeah.
could have died making The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, I guess they had to be, careful with him and stuff. Yeah. And then,
Yeah,
what's a very sweet thing I noticed about him when I saw him at Monster Mania recently? I was in line waiting to maybe say hi and speak to him real quick. And he had this line of people all waiting for his autograph. And he stopped because some woman had said that she had celiac disease and was having a hard time with wheat. And he stopped to write down all these websites that she should check out to become more educated as to her condition and start eating better. And he has this long line of autographs, but he stops because he cares that much about this woman's health that he's going to write down all these websites because he's
I,
really into health and nutrition.
yeah. Like I said, he's one of my all-time favorite horror icons. I mean, Jason and Freddy have nothing on Pluto. You
Oh, yeah.
know.
Well, they're
So,
all fantastic, but there's
yeah,
just something about Michael Berryman. He has such a unique look, such a unique voice, and just, everything about him is just really like, he's iconic, he's a
yeah.
horror icon.
Him and the other one that I really want to meet is Tony Todd.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Tony Todd seems like he'd be that kind of person also.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read that you started acting at an early age.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I would say fairly early.
yeah. Well, was there something that turned you on to acting? Like a play or a movie?
Well, my first time ever acting, I believe, was nursery school, and we were
Oh
doing a
wow.
play where we were all insects, and I think I played a ladybug, and I was having dialogue with a beetle. I'm not sure what about, 'cause that was a while ago. But and then after that, I had a lot of small parts in school plays, all these little kid kind of productions and stuff. I think Santa Claus might have been one of these plays. And then high school, I was involved a little bit in some plays, mostly small parts. And then in college, I started getting involved in short films that some of the kids that were studying film were putting together. And I took some acting classes and things like that. And then after college, I got involved in my first horror film, which was Jacko's Slasher, which was directed by Jen Valdez. And that's when I first met James Balsamo. We have a really amazing scene in a cornfield. I'm a sexy Satanist wearing a bra and panties, and James and I have kind of an interesting interaction. And that meeting of James Balsamo on set in a cornfield led to me being in I Spill Your Guts just a couple months later.
Yeah, that was going to be a question down the road, is like how you met James. But um, I I was fortunate enough to I've been fortunate enough to review most of his movies, and I've got kind of like a nice little Facebook friendship with him. And well, that's how we met, of course, you know that.
Exactly.
But it's just kind of nice to see. I asked him one day, you know, because I thought he was just a director.
Hmm.
I asked him, "Do do you make a good living at this directing?" And he told me, he's like, "No, I'm an actor before I'm a director," which is kind of cool. So now I know, it's kind of neat seeing, actors not just wear one hat but another. You have any ideas of ever directing?
That's a good question. Well, I'm going to go say a little bit more about James and the fact that not only is he an actor and a director, but he also does a lot of makeup and special effects.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he wears a lot of hats.
yeah,
And
he does.
as for me, I'm focusing right now on acting, but I'm getting more and more people asking me about the directing angle and maybe the producing angle. So we'll see what happens next year. You know?
I say try a short, and just see
Yeah,
how it goes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's the natural evolution of an actor is that eventually you're going to spend some time behind the camera as well as in front of the camera, because you really get a sense of what you like and what you don't like in a sense of film rather organically as being an actor. And eventually you probably want to really put that all into play and do your own thing.
Yeah, I think some of the best actors that become directors, they know where they're coming from.
Yeah, look at Clint
And
Eastwood. If you thought he was a great actor, no, no, see what kind of director he is. Wow.
one of the best.
Yeah.
He's an all time favorite. I mean, that was the guy I was gonna go with right there. So yeah, took the words out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, because it's actually kind of shocking. You see him in like these old movies with the cowboy hat and stuff, and you're like, what a good actor. But then you're like, no, no, no. See him in Bridges in Madison County. See the Garden of Good and Evil. See him with Gran Torino was a great movie.
In the
Wow.
Line of Fire,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you really got to go back. But if you go back Clint Eastwood's past, you go back to the stuff before the cowboy hats. You know, the movie Tarantula.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that. No.
Yeah, 1950s atomic age sci-fi film where he plays one of the guys in the airplane, the jets
Hmm.
that come in, and he made like three movies back then where his parts were nothing. He's in Revenge Revenge of the Creature, which is the creature from Black Lagoon. He plays a lab assistant.
Nice. So many people have gotten their start in horror. Look at
Yeah,
that. Wow.
yeah. There's a lot. I mean, that list is long.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Like, a lot of times people kind of look down at the horror genre, but the horror genre really encompasses a lot of things. And it's reminiscent of Vincent Price has this great quote about like the challenge of acting in horror is to act realistically and dramatically in the most unrealistic of circumstances. And you're like in this scene, you're like, okay, your whole platoon has just been killed and eaten by zombies, and you want to react realistically to that. And there's
yeah,
really nothing for most people's lives that you can really take from to bring a realistic performance. But you
yeah,
have, so method acting only helps you to a certain degree. So maybe you have to think of maybe a time you saw a terrible train or car accident and you have to bring that reaction into the moment and bring
that's
it
got
as
to be
close
hard.
as you can.
Cry I mean, you look at some of these people and how they cry on screen, and it's gotta be the hardest thing.